Thank you for joining us on our next conversation now. The new identification policy by the Central Bank of Nigeria will only apply to 31 million Nigerians. The president of the Bank Customers Association of Nigeria said that the idea was good and would prevent fraudulent activities in the country. But according to CBN, its new regulation is to create additional customer due diligence measures for the financial institutions under its regulatory purview. Also, these measures, it says, will help these institutions against money laundering and more, and is in line with international best practices. According to Statista, there are only 32 million Nigerians on social media as of January 2023. Talking about these, let's get started with the conversation now. Well, we have Bolade Agbola is CIBN chairman in Lagos State. He joins us to take a look at this now. Thank you for your time, and it's good to have you again, and happy holiday.
Thank you very much. Former CIBN president, chairman, Lagos branch.
Okay.
Not current.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Thank you so much for that correction. So let's get started now. Let me ask you, what's your position on this? Because the Apex Bank said that using social media as a means of identification is projected to further strengthen customer due diligence regulations and deepen the identification process. So what's your position on this? Because a lot of Nigerians are saying, wait a minute, is CBN joking or what? So talk to us about what you think.
Well, the issue of identification has actually evolved over time. I remember when we started with national ID, there was no signature, there was no biometric features. And unfortunately, when we had the national ID, we thought we could have a universal identity card that could actually serve all purposes. Either you want to open an account or you want to put in a card to pay for train service or even airline and all the rest, or even withdraw money. So we are still battling with identification. I think it was when the national identity card was not forthcoming at that time that BVN came in, which was the initiative of the bankers. And if you look at the BVN too, we still find out that the implementation has not been seamless in terms of and then of course updating the data and all the rest. So for CBN to come up with a new identification mode, I think the critical thing we need to know is not the stress it takes to use it to replace the existing one, but to see the features of this new identification. Because technology keeps changing, and those changes have to be reflected in the way we do business. If you see the amount of fraud that is still taking place despite the BVN and all the rest, so we will ask ourselves, has the BVN been very effective? And then has the national ID scheme been pervasive enough to replace BVN, so that once you have an identity, it is of course we have linkages to, which is what some people some organizations are doing. For instance, if you want to do your international passport, it has to be linked with your NIN. So if you want to do and that could be very cumbersome. So to me, even the payment of the pension and the PFA too, you have to go and link your NIN to the data. So there is need for coordination. There is need for a robust one that will actually serve our purpose, so that we don't go today do this one, tomorrow do that one. You need to see the stress that is involved in linking the the pensions platform to the NIN. You have to go there, they pay some money and all the rest. So these are some of the duplications we need to. So the problem to me for what the CBN is doing is not the fact that they want to change it. The BVN to me has some features, but it needs to be upgraded. Okay. And then of course, so that we can get the desired something. Yes.
Okay, so what you're saying is that this new KYC that includes social media perhaps is not necessary at this time. Is that what you're saying?
No, it is necessary to integrate it to rates so that you can have a multiple channel. It is necessary to upgrade the BVN.
Okay. Just pardon me. There are key issues here. One is that there are just 32 million Nigerians on social media. I mean, how effective would this be? Because some people are saying that this policy is not well, thought through. If CBN actually, thought through this policy, they would have considered that only 32 million Nigerians, are on social media. And you have to look at how many numbers of accounts we have. But we'll quickly take a break. And when we come back, that's what we will begin to, interrogate. How well thought through is this policy, given the number of, Nigerians on social media? I'll be back in a moment. Please just hang on there in a moment. Please stay with us. Thank you for joining us. Now we've been talking to Mr. Bolade Agbola. He's the former CIBN President, Lagos State Chapter. Thank you for joining us. Just before we went on break, of course, we're trying to interrogate or trying to look at if whether this policy was thought through by CBN, given the fact that there are only 32 million Nigerians on social media. What's your position on this?
Well, the statistics at times could be, it leads you to what you should do. We have 134 million Nigerians having active accounts, and only 9 of them are using digital platform. 9, that's about 18 million. So you are right in saying that, if 32 million people are on social media, is that the basis to do, put in place in means of identification that take into consideration social media? And I would say it's a thing that has to be driven, because that's the that's the platform that is used by the high income group in the economy. The social media actually is used by the illiterates and educated. I know what it takes for some people old people at home to use even digital phones. So that is the way to go, because if you want to drive the economy, you must also, while you are meeting the needs of the lower rank of the population, you must meet the needs of the elites that drives most of the transaction. So I think it is in order to do that, because the expense of financial inclusion is to ensure that you have capacity to take in as many. And the adoption rate is also very, very interesting when you see the way it goes up. So when we have a kind of identification system that takes care of the social media platform, I think it will drive financial inclusion, and then of course it will be easier to still get down to the lower rank, because if you have 4 million Nigerians having active accounts, in terms of when you say that, you are also talking of people with multiple accounts and all the rest. That means we are making a lot of progress. So to me, it's desirable to be able to have a means of ID that takes into consideration the use by those who are going to be on social media, because those are the people who will command the economy going forward.